For the second time in the experience of most of us, the trust of the people of this kingdom has devolved upon me for the purpose of governing them as their king. Those of you who are a part of the Kingdom of Hanover community in her early days know that my first reign began when I founded Hanover in the year 2002. When I departed in 2003, I would have been the very last person to suppose that fate would one day restore me to the Hanoverian throne. So incompatible was my vision at the time with the aspirations of the community. Time changes all things, however. My return to the throne is the result of the sudden and unexpected departure of the first monarch to reign over the Kingdom of Hanover following her independence from the Glennish kingdoms. I would like to thank His Majesty King Eric for his service to this kingdom and to its people. The task fell to him to arrange the priorities of a newly independent Hanover, and the task now falls to me to cooperate with all of you in the development of Hanover's future. It is a peculiar thing to consider that all of my successors on this throne are now become my predecessors as well, and yet such is the eccentric disposition of the present-day Kingdom of Hanover. It seems to me that defining what constitutes normality in the case of this kingdom is becoming more and more of a challenge with each passing year. And yet, for all her idiosyncrasies and eccentricities, the Kingdom of Hanover's durability is, at this point, without question. Now in her 14th year, the Kingdom of Hanover lingers on, but by now only just barely. Today, it so happens that the Kingdom of Hanover is but a shadow of her former self. To add greater strain to the already fragile and tottering framework of the Kingdom of Hanover, a rival claim to the crown has persisted since her independence in the year 2014. I am duty-bound to inform you that I have reached out, in a private way, to King Christian of Emden-Holstein, the other claimant to the Hanoverian throne, for the purpose of concluding this dispute once and for all. To that end, King Christian and I have, in a spirit of reconciliation and in an atmosphere of equanimity, negotiated a formal, unified resolution, which will be formally published on February 9th, and which upon publication will become legally binding. The agreements which have been accorded upon by King Christian and myself will have the effect of dividing the patrimony of the Kingdom of Hanover in half, such that he shall reign over one half and I over the other. I will not relate in this message the many details of the division of the Hanoverian patrimony, all of which may be read in our joint resolution, which will be published next week. For any of you who may be inclined at first to recoil at the idea of a divided Hanover, it is important to be aware that we are speaking now of the division of an idea more than we are the division of a concrete reality. As it happens, the dispute between King Christian and I amounts to two rival claims for a mere shadow of the past. This compromise was, in any event, the only way to bring to a final resolution a headache that neither I nor anybody else desired to inherit or to perpetuate. The war of accusations, insinuations, threats, and retorts is now over. As you are all aware, I have returned to the throne of this kingdom while already reigning over another. My duties as the constitutional monarch of the Kingdom of Scone absorb so much of my spare time as it is, that it will be impossible for me to dedicate myself to the supervision of the affairs of the Kingdom of Hanover as fully as I would wish to do. It is my expectation that, at some point, this kingdom will be formally secured to the Scottish crown, as a dependency thereof, in some form or other. And as such there may emerge the possibility of cooperation and the sharing of resources between the two realms. That remains to be seen, however. At the moment, and until the current situation may be thoroughly analyzed, this kingdom is, and shall remain, a sovereign and independent kingdom. Furthermore, until such time as the kingdom of Hanover may be seen to be able to support the infrastructure of responsible government, she shall be, out of necessity, governed absolutely by the crown. It is my very sincere hope that this new chapter in the story of the Kingdom of Hanover will prove a happy one indeed, and that your journey upon this apparently unsinkable ship will become at last a tranquil and pleasant one. Nobody can say you haven't deserved as much after all that you've been through. For the promise of future tranquility, I pledge to you, here and now, that your king will not abandon you. Whenever the day should come that it seems fitting that my reign ought to conclude, either according to the suitability of the situation in the expectation of the times, or according to the sovereign will of God, in whose hands lie the final destinies of all men, the transition to the next reign will be an orderly, honorable, and peaceful one, characterized by the stability which true royal tradition imparts. As you have entrusted to me the responsibility for the stable government of this kingdom, I now entrust to you the responsibility for the cultivation of her vitality. May the God of all creation, whose paternal love and solicitude for his children is without measure and without end, grant each and every one of you the consolation of his life-giving grace in Christ. And may his abundant blessings be showered upon the whole of our Glenish family.